What if you could look at a stranger on the street and know exactly how many people they were going to kill? Not might kill. Not could kill. Would kill, a cold, floating number hanging above their head like a verdict already signed. That is the world our main character lives in every single day. He has no official name, no public face, no record that the police can pin down with certainty. The world knows him only as Number, the most wanted serial killer in all of Korea. But before we get to the killer, we need to understand the gift, or the curse, depending on how you look at it. Since childhood, he's been able to see digits floating just above every person he encounters. A glowing numeral, hovering right above the crown of their head, visible only to him. Those numbers represent one specific thing: the count of human lives that person will take before they die. Not crimes, it's not accidents, murders, deliberate intentional deaths at the hands of that individual. Most people he passes on the street carry a 0 above their heads. Ordinary people living ordinary lives, never crossing that line. But some carry ones, 2s, dozens, and occasionally numbers so high they make his stomach turn. And he made a rule for himself, a rule as cold and precise as the numbers he sees. If a person is only going to kill one person in their entire life, he leaves them alone. Eliminating them would cost one life to save one life. No gain, no loss. Not worth it. But the moment that number reaches 2, that changes everything. 2 lives saved for 1 taken. That math to him is perfectly justifiable. And if the number above someone's head reads 50 or 200, he goes after them without hesitation. He has been doing this for years, moving through Korean cities like a ghost. Leaving carved numbers on the hands of his victims. The number carved into each hand is not random. It is the exact count of lives that person would have taken. His calling card. His record. His justification. The police have been hunting him for months, growing more desperate with each new body. More than 30 victims, and still no face, no fingerprints, no pattern they can decode. Because to everyone else, the victims look completely unconnected. Different ages, different backgrounds, different parts of the city. No shared employer, no shared neighborhood, no shared history. The only thing linking them is that number carved somewhere on their skin. News broadcasts run his name every night. Citizens lock their doors a little tighter. And somewhere in the city, he sits in a cafe by the window, watching numbers float above the heads of everyone who walks by, planning, calculating, never resting. This is the story of Number, a man who decided the world needed a surgeon willing to cut out its most dangerous tumors before they could spread. Whether he is a monster or a miracle depends entirely on where you are standing. And it also depends on who else can see what he sees. Because he is not the only one. There is a woman named Sei, working as a journalist in Seoul, covering crime stories day after day. She sits at her desk scrolling through news about the serial killer, eyes red from reading too long too late. Her colleagues worry about her. They suggest restaurants, early nights, anything to pull her attention away. But Sei cannot look away from the screen because her sister's photograph is sitting on the corner of her desk. Her sister, who was found dead not long ago, with a number carved into the back of her hand. At the morgue, when she had to identify the body, she saw it clearly, the number 2, etched into lifeless skin. The work of Number, the work of the most notorious killer in the country. Or so everyone assumed. Sei begins to dig into the case as only a journalist can, calling witnesses. Filing request, following every thin thread available. She interviews the witness to the 37th murder, a woman who says something startling. The woman is not grieving. She is grateful. Her ex-boyfriend, the victim, had shown up at her house one evening with a bag full of flammable material. His plan was to set fire to her home with her entire family inside. Number appeared that night and stopped him permanently. Sei is unsettled by this. The woman laughs at her discomfort, as if the answer is obvious. She knows exactly who Number saves, and exactly who he kills. Then one night, walking home through a quiet street, Sei realizes she is being followed. The footsteps behind her grow closer, faster. She runs. She stumbles. A hand grabs her arm and drags her down. But before anything worse can happen, a familiar voice cuts through the dark. It is Yun, her colleague. He shoves the pursuer back, grabs her hand, tells her to run as fast as she can. They sprint together through the streets, ducking into an alley that Yun insists is a shortcut. It is not a shortcut. It is a dead end. And when Sei turns around, Yun is walking toward her holding an iron bar. The man who is chasing her steps in from the other side. Relax now, smiling. Yan tells her why. She and her sister had nearly exposed them. Her sister was not killed by number at all. Jiun and his accomplice had killed her themselves, then carved the number into her hand to frame the serial killer. Se is still on the ground, trying to process this, when the alley goes very quiet. A third figure stands at the entrance. Neither of the men invited him. One of his eyes catches the light differently, a faint blue glow, like a gas flame in the dark. He looks at both men for a moment, then speaks in a flat, unhurried voice. He tells them they are destined criminals. The accomplice panics, charges at him with the iron bar. He is disarmed in seconds, folded over a fist to the gut. Jiun is next. The number floating above his head reads 4. The serial killer points at him with a knife and says the number aloud, like a sentence being read in court. The fight is brief and entirely one-sided. When it is over, Number crouches by his recorder and states the date, time, and target number clearly. He explains for the record that by eliminating this target, for future lives will be preserved. He even asks Jiun if he has any last words or wishes. Jiun curses him, then begs. Too late either way. The accomplice scrambles away down the alley. Number does not follow. Se asks why. The accomplice attacks someone tonight. Number tells her that the man above his head shows only a 1. One life, not worth trading another. Se stares at this person who has just saved her life, and something clicks into place in her mind. She has spent weeks trying to understand him, and now she thinks she does. She offers to help him. She is a journalist. She can help him hide, spread his message, reach more people. He listens. Then he takes out a fresh recorder and asks if she has any last words. Se cannot process what she is hearing. He turns his face to her fully and she sees it, the number floating above her head. 12. To Number, all lives carry the same weight. Good people, bad people. People who do not yet know what they will become. He does not judge character, reads numbers. And her number tells him she will take 12 lives before she is done. That is enough. The story of Number and his impossible crusade has just begun. But it is already tangled with secrets that go far deeper than a single alley in Seoul. Because there is another person in this city who also sees things no one else can. She is not a journalist. She is not a killer. She is a young woman trying very hard just to survive. Her name is Jiun Mo. And the number she carries above her head is not 12. It is 4,000. 4,000 lives hanging above a girl who works double shifts at a diner and flinches when strangers say her full name. Because when people hear her full name, they always say the same thing next. They say it with a look she has known since she was 8 years old. Jiun Mo, daughter of Hong Mo. The serial killer who disappeared from her life at age 6 and reappeared on television in handcuffs. She has spent her entire life being told what she will become. She has smiled through it, worked through it, survived through it. But somewhere in the back of her right eye, something has started to glow. Golden numbers, floating, ticking. And she has absolutely no idea what they mean yet. Let us go back a little further into Jiun's world before it fully breaks open. She is juggling 2 jobs, hiding her face in the collar of her jacket, trying to disappear into the crowd. At the diner where she works, a regular customer catches her eye, a quiet man who always picks a window seat. He orders carefully, checks his phone, stares at the street outside with an intensity that does not match his stillness. She does not know yet that he is watching the numbers above every head that passes the window. She does not know yet that her number, when he first clocks it, stops him cold. Her second job ends with a slap across the face for arriving late. She does not cry. She does not argue. She smiles and gets back to work. Pain is temporary, she tells herself. As long as she can earn money and keep moving, she will endure it. Until a customer at a table calls her by her full name, and the room changes temperature. A former classmate, laughing, announcing to the table that she is the daughter of Hong Mo, the famous serial killer. Images flood her, a school desk scrawled with the word killer, parents demanding she be removed from class. She runs out of the tent, gasping, her right eye searing with pain. And when she looks up through the blur, golden numbers shimmer above the heads of people passing by. She does not understand what she is looking at. But from a building above her, a scarred man in a dark coat watches and thinks the same thought she does not know yet. Who is Jiun Mo, really? Her childhood was not a childhood. It was a series of doors closing in her face. At 8, she saw her father arrested on the news and did not understand why. At 9, she lived in a state of denial so complete, it felt like drowning in slow motion. At 14, a classmate slapped her across the face because Jiun had tried to speak to her as a friend. The girl's brother had been one of her father's victims. A teacher pulled Jiun into an office and told her gently to consider the feelings of the victims' families, as if she had never considered anything else, as if her own existence was an offense. She laughed in that office, a laugh with no humor in it, and asked the teacher directly, was it her fault for trying to befriend a victim's sister? Was it her fault for being born to the father she was given? The teacher apologized. Apology changed nothing. The only thing that kept Jiun going through all of it was a decision she made sometime around age 14. She would be the opposite of everything they expected. Happy, stable, responsible, never violent, never cruel, never her father. Her best friend through all of it is a boy named Min, known to her simply as Min. He has known her for over a decade and never once looked at her the way the world does. On the night before her birthday, he meets her in a park and hands her hand lotion as a gift. She starts crying quietly in the way people do when the kindness catches them off guard. She tells him about the week, the classmate, the comments online, the footage that leaked. Someone had followed her and Min on a night out and sold the video to a gossip channel. The reporter framed it as a scandal, the daughter of a serial killer. Yes, laughing and singing karaoke 2 days after the memorial for her father's 13 victims. The video reached 1 million views. The comments were brutal. People called it proof she would follow her father's path. Others said it was unfair but still could not resist the angle. And in her room, reading every single comment, Jiun asked herself what she was even working toward. What was the point of smiling and pretending and enduring if happiness itself was used as evidence against her? Min tells her to stop reading. He tells her those people will move on when they have no more drama to feed on. He sits with her, and for a moment things feel almost normal, until she glances at the space above his head and sees a golden number begin to drop. Fast. She does not know what the numbers mean yet, but her body knows something is wrong before her mind does. Then stones begin hitting the window from outside. Her mother leaves for a night shift and tells Min not to go outside under any circumstances. He agrees. He checks the refrigerator, finds it nearly empty, and waits. After a while, he concludes the people outside have left. He tells Jiun he is going to a convenience store. She is asleep. He slips out quietly and steps directly into a trap. 3 men were waiting. They push through the door before he can close it. One of them is enormous, scarred, carrying a hammer, and speaking with the focused clarity of a man who has rehearsed this moment for a very long time. He says his daughter was 18 when she died because of Jiun's father. He says it is his turn now. He pulls out the hammer. Min tries to stop him. The hammer connects. Min goes down. Jiun wakes up to the sound of the commotion and walks into her own living room to find her best friend unconscious on the floor. She looks at the space above Min's head and sees the number counting down. 1 minute. Everything she has told herself about who she is, stable, responsible, never violent, collapses in that single second. She grabs a kitchen knife. The man with the hammer sees her and smiles as if this is exactly what he wanted. And then the room goes still because someone else is already in the apartment. The man with the scar on his face and the blue-lit eye is standing in the middle of the room. He asks Jiun if those are her last words, not to the man with the hammer. Before she can answer, he moves. Everything happens in about 8 seconds. The men with cameras are scrambling. Phones are smashed. The live stream cuts to static. The man with the hammer tries to finish what he came for, but number is in his way. He tells the man he cannot spare him, but then checks the number above his head. 1. The man is released, shaking, and stumbles out the door. Jiun, still on the floor with a knife in her hand, looks at the person who just intervened. She notices his eyes, the faint glow of blue. She notices the way he is looking at her. Not with pity, not with contempt, with something closer to calculation. She notices something else. The knife that cut her did not finish the job. And the number above her head, which he expected to read 0 by now, has not disappeared. It has dropped. From 4,000 to 1. Number has spent years confirming that these numbers never change. That they are locked in place by fate itself. What he is looking at right now should be impossible. As the police sirens close in from several streets away, he does something he has never done before. He picks the girl up, carries her to his car, and drives. He does not know where he is going yet. He is just driving. And the number above her head is still there, still glowing, still alive. Jiun wakes up somewhere unfamiliar, a half-collapsed building at the edge of an empty road. Her body hurts. Her right eye burns. She remembers men on the floor. She remembers the knife. She tries to run. A rope tied to her ankle catches her after about 4 steps. The man with the scar tells her, without raising his voice, not to waste energy and to go inside. Inside the car she had woken up in, she sits with her hands in her lap and pieces the situation together. The man who used to sit by the window at her diner. The carved numbers on victims' hands. She is sitting in a car with Number, the most wanted serial killer in Korea. And he has told her she was going to kill 4,000 people. She asks him directly, did she do something? Will she do something? He corrects her number with exact precision, the way someone reads a receipt. Then he explains his rule again, the one he explains to everyone. 1 is not a target, but she is not a 1 anymore. She was almost a 0, which means something extraordinary has just occurred. And he is not willing to let her out of his sight until he understands it. He tells her she is free to go. She can escape him, try to return to her old life. But he names what that life will look like, everyone pointing at her, the police calling her an accomplice, the live stream footage sitting online forever. She can go prove her innocence in a world that has already decided what she is. Or she can stay. Jiun asks to be taken home first. She needs clothes. She needs to see her mother. He accepts this. He parks the car away from cameras and tells her she has 30 minutes. Inside the apartment, jumping over the police tape, she grabs what she needs and tries to think of a way out. She could go in the opposite direction. She could disappear. But then Min steps through her door holding a broken bottle, nearly giving her a heart attack. He had come back for a bag he forgot, found the door open, and armed himself. His face is bandaged. He is overwhelmingly relieved she is alive. He asks where she has been. He tells her the internet has already tried and convicted her. A detective gave him a card. He asks her to come back with him and clear her name. And Jiun breaks. Not gently, she yells. She tells Min that when she grabbed that knife, she was not out of her mind. She was clear, deliberate. She wanted to hurt that man. She did not want to save Min. She wanted to destroy the man who was threatening him. That is different. Maybe everything they have always said about her is right. Maybe the number above her head exists for a reason. Min tells her that his mother has collapsed and is in the hospital, and he cannot handle losing her too. The words hit like something physical. Jiun remembers her own mother's face the night her father appeared on television. She goes to see her mother one last time. Then, she gets into Number's car. She calls him Master. She says that if she is with him, she does not have to worry about killing anyone. He says she should not worry if her number rises. He will handle it immediately. She decides to take that as reassurance. Somewhere behind them, detective with red glowing eyes picks up a photo of Jiun at the diner and tucks it carefully into his notebook. 3 sets of special eyes are now moving through the same city, and none of them know yet how tightly they are connected to each other. Life in Number's car is nothing like what anyone would expect from a vigilante serial killer. He eats cereal and eggs, hates interruptions to his routine. He parks in dark alleys and returns smelling faintly of effort. He tells her he'd put 2 people to sleep that night, one with a 5 count, one with a 3. He calls it logistical. She calls it horrifying and hides it behind a neutral expression. It has been for days since she started riding with him, and she is slowly beginning to decode his system. He always finds a crowded place, sits where he can see the most heads, and works through his list. Highest numbers first, especially when they are blinking a sign the count is about to trigger. Meanwhile, Jian's right eye is doing something she cannot explain to anyone. When she focuses and narrows her vision deliberately, numbers appear above people's heads. But her numbers are different from his. They are split to values separated by a colon like a timer. 3 hours and 31 minutes, 14 days and 9 hours, 9 months and 4 days. She is seeing how long people have left to live. Number watches her stare at the top of his head sometimes and knows exactly what is happening. He remembers feeling the same strange pain in his eye when he was young. He asks her about it. She tries to play dumb, then immediately realizes there is no point. She tells him what she sees. He processes this without much visible reaction. And then they are sitting by the road eating when she activates her ability and the world shifts. Because she can see that a family nearby, a mother, a little girl, grandfather, all have a countdown running, and it is moving fast. The display reads 8 hours and 31 minutes. Jiun does not know what is coming for them, but she knows something is. And she sees a hooded man moving through the crowd with exactly the same count running above his head. She gets out of the car and starts following them without thinking. From a rooftop, Number watches the girl bolt and immediately connects the dots. He finds her at the mall entrance. She is vibrating with urgency. He asks, almost casually, what numbers she is seeing above their heads. She tells him everything, confirms it. The man in the hood is watching the family from the upper floor. Number 3, above his head, matching the count of 3 people in the family exactly. He is not a coincidence. He is the cause. Number tells her to stay calm. They have hours before anything happens. This is an advantage. He can prepare instead of react. He places a tracker signal on her phone. She discovers this with considerable alarm and tells her to follow the family at a careful distance. She asks how they will stop this. He tells her his role is to handle the stalker before he can act. Hers is to keep watch over the family without alerting the man above. Jiun realizes, somewhere between the parking lot and the mall entrance, that she has become a partner in a murder prevention operation. She is not sure when exactly this became her life, but here they are. The family's mother is named Yoon Seon, and she is more frightened than she looks. At a cafe table inside the mall, she is blocking numbers from her phone as fast as they arrive. The stalker has been flooding public directories with her contact details, restaurants, funeral homes, booking sites, all in her name. He is her ex-boyfriend, and his obsession has crossed every line that exists. Then Yoon Seon looks up toward the upper floor and sees him standing there, watching. She screams. Security and police are called. The stalker retreats. The countdown above the family shifts. Now 7 hours and 4 minutes remain. Jiun notices the change and remembers what number told her. The numbers do not move based on what the victims do. They move based on what the stalker does. Police arrive at the apartment and do a sweep. They find nothing. They give the family a device to wear, tell them to stay inside, and promise another round of patrol. Then they leave. 39 minutes before the incident. Jiun, now positioned in the stairwell of a building near the apartment, watches the stalker approach below with a toolbox. He peels adhesive tape across a neighboring door's vents, then punches through a window panel without sound, slides inside, begins connecting a gas cylinder to the apartment's ventilation. He is not improvising. He's been planning this for a long time. With 26 minutes left, the mother smells something wrong in the kitchen. Jiun is already inside the building, creeping toward the gas connection. She gets her hands on the hose and yanks it free from the line. But the stalker is already inside through a second window. There are screams, a hammer raised. The father goes down. The daughter is grabbed and used as a shield. And then Jiun's phone vibrates. A message from a number with no SIM. Call the police now. She understands instantly who sent it. Taking advantage of the stalker's distraction, the mother throws herself at him, knocks him to the ground, and screams for the daughter to run. The door swings open, and Jiun takes the door directly to the face. She shakes it off, pulls a gas canister from her bag, and sprays it directly into the stalker's eyes. Everyone in the hallway coughs and staggers. The countdown above the mother's head reads 12 minutes and 47 seconds. Jiun tells her to run. The mother hesitates. The stalker recovers faster than expected. He grabs a long blade and advances. He recognizes Jiun as the person who has been watching him, and he is furious. He says no one is going to stop him. When the police arrive, they will all be dead already. He charges toward the daughter. Jiun shoves her out of the way and stays behind. Then the hallway light goes off. Darkness. Footsteps. The sound of someone breathing that is not human in the way it is so controlled. The stalker spins around, trying to find the source of the sound. The light comes back on. Number is standing in the corridor. Then he is not there. The stalker's paranoia spikes as the serial killer moves in and out of the shadows, peering just long enough to keep the man completely off balance. Every time the stalker raises his weapon, Number is already somewhere else. He hurls the gas cylinder. It connects. The stalker hits the floor, grabbing the cylinder, trying to use it as a weapon on Jiun. She ducks under the swing and something flashes through her mind. She never wanted to become this. She has spent her whole life running from exactly this kind of scene. And maybe that is the only reason she followed Number in the first place, not fear. But the desperate hope that someone could give her a reason to believe a different kind of future is possible. Number pulls her clear of the cylinder's arc and finishes the job. Afterward, he asks the stalker, now barely conscious, if he has any last words. Police sirens spiral up from the street below. Jiun tells him they have to go. He tells her to go outside. We'll join her in a moment. She waits on the roof, watching patrol cars fill the street below, not understanding why he always insists on this ritual with men like that. She goes back inside to warn him and arrives just as he finishes. On the floor, she sees ropes, a belt, gear she did not notice him carrying in. He tells her to hold on tight. They rappel down the exterior of the building. She has never been more terrified in her life, and also never moved so fast. He times the descent around the security cameras, waits for moths drawn to a light source to briefly obscure the lens, then drops with full force. The ground comes up fast. They land. They walk away. Behind them, the police begin processing the scene. The family is alive. The father is injured, but stable. The stalker is not. The detective with the red eyes arrives the next morning to examine security footage. His name is Sunbae, and he is thorough in a way that makes his colleagues slightly nervous. He notices the moth, a single swarm of insects at the exact moment of escape. He concludes that the man in the footage did not simply react to the moths. He anticipated them. Either the criminal has extraordinary pattern recognition ability, or he can predict the future. Sunbae visits the family at the hospital to ask a few careful questions. While he speaks with Yun Sion, his eyes glow red, and numbers appear above her head as she speaks. He can see how many lies a person will tell, and the number decreases each time she tells one. She lies about not seeing Jiun at the apartment. He catches it, notes it, and does not press further. He does not need her confession. He already has enough. Later at the station, Sunbae draws his conclusions. Number left no fingerprints, no DNA, no footage. The fire extinguisher had wiped every surface clean. But the girl, Jiun Mo, left footprints. Security images, green jacket on camera. Sunbae knows she is working alongside the serial killer, and he knows why the victim's family is covering for them both. He decides to pursue Jiun separately from the number case, and he decides to find them before the homicide division does. Now, back in the car, Number is having a memory. He woke from it with a headache bad enough to make him flinch. It is a memory he rarely allows himself to visit. A room full of injured children, a woman standing in the middle of it. She says she did this because he would not have been able to do it on his own. She says she is his master. Then the memory ends, the way these things always do, abruptly, before the worst part. He shakes it off and keeps driving. Jiun watches him from the back seat and decides not to ask. Not yet. Their route takes them to a tattooed woman who runs something like a private courier service for sensitive material. Number hands over a set of audio recorders, the ones Jiun has seen him carry throughout. In return, he collects a contact and a photo. The woman tells Jiun she is interesting, the only person Number has ever spared as far as she knows. On the road again, Jiun asks about the recorders. Number tells her they contain the last words of everyone he has eliminated. Some use their final moments to pass messages to family. Others dictate instructions for lawyers about inheritance. A few spend their last breath cursing the people who failed to stop him. These recordings are delivered discreetly to the intended recipients through agents who remove anything that could alert police. Jiun cannot understand why he does this. He is spending enormous effort honoring the final wishes of people he himself has condemned. He shows her, without explanation, by stopping at a grave and laying blue flowers on it. He says the man asked for flowers on his sister's grave as a last wish. He does not know the sister. He does not need to. He says simply that right or wrong, good or bad, if they are on his list and they have a last wish he can fulfill, he fulfills it. He decided this once a long time ago, and he has not questioned it since. Jiun looks at the flowers on the grave and thinks about a machine that has programmed itself to be kind in the most specific possible way. She wonders what broke him open enough to make that decision. The next target brings him to a nightclub in the underworld district of the city. The man they are watching is Cho Chang-hook, a Yakuza-adjacent figure with a number 33 above his head. He was hired to eliminate 3 specific people. The job was placed by someone else. That someone else was the last wish of a person. Number already eliminated a man who had suffered under Cho's operation and could not take his revenge himself. Number is fulfilling that wish by delivering the reckoning personally. From a rooftop, Jiun photographs Cho's henchmen one by one, collecting faces like evidence, moving carefully enough that the man below does not look up, until a cat knocks over a can. Cho looks up, steps into his line of sight before Jiun can be seen. The fight begins. It is unlike anything she has watched before. Cho is fast, intelligent, and trained in exactly the kind of combat that ends careers and lives. But Number always seems to be one move ahead, reacting before the attack comes. As if he already knows the shape of what is about to happen, because he does. He is running his own numbers, checking what his count does in response to each decision he considers, finding the path where his number does not drop. Cho realizes, somewhere in the middle of the fight, that this is exactly what the serial killer is doing. He calls Number a lunatic with the same gift as a certain albino girl. Something in Number's face goes completely blank. Cho takes the moment and slams a brick into the side of his head, a low blow by anyone's standard. And then he runs. Number comes back online fast. He tracks the man to his base. But Cho already made a call in the car, and Jiun has been caught. She is being held in a room by Cho's henchman Jiun Mo when Number enters the base. Cho offers him a deal: fight the henchman. Winner keeps the girl. Number refuses the deal without hesitation. He says he does not care what happens to the girl. Cho can do whatever he wants with her. Jian's face falls. And then 16 henchmen close in from every side. Cho orders them to take out the girl while his men handle Number. But Jiun has been watching and listening. She activates her ability, feels the burn of it behind her eye, and starts making choices. She checks which door will keep her alive. She checks second by second whether her number is holding. She finds a room with metal doors that keep her countdown stable. And when Jen follows her inside, she pulls a fire hose from the wall. Water floods the floor. She connects it to an open fuse box in the dark. The lights go out across the entire building. Number, outnumbered and bleeding in the main room, now has the one advantage that matters. He does not need the lights. He moves through the darkness like a man following a map only he can read. Henchmen go down one by one. He counts them aloud as he works. By the time Cho understands what is happening, he is alone. Number pins him, starts the recorder, states his name and number. Before ending it, he asks the man directly. He needs everything Cho knows about the albino woman who also sees numbers. Cho tells him she is in Korea right now. Then he tries to take advantage of Number's reaction and grabs a weapon. It does not work. As Cho dies, he says it will be a war. All the people who see Numbers coming for each other. Number hears this and says nothing. Jiun finds him shortly after. She says she moved, according to the numbers, just as he taught her. She says she discovered something new. But before she can tell him what it is, Number collapses down the stairs. His eye has reached its absolute limit. He has been overusing it for 40 straight days, trying to predict the best possible future. He knew this moment was coming. Did it anyway. 2 days pass. Jiun stays with him in the car, monitoring, waiting, eating his hidden snacks, which he finds deeply objectionable when he wakes. He asks what day it is. December 3rd. He has lost 2 days of memory. He is furious at the time lost and at the evidence he may have left behind at the crime scene. Without full use of his ability during the escape, he could not calculate the best possible exit route. He needs to get somewhere to heal. He drives without telling her where. She sits in the passenger seat and decides it is time to ask what she has been wondering since the beginning. She starts saying and name variations of it because she heard him murmuring it in his sleep. Nuna. He hits the brakes so hard she bounces off the dashboard. He wants to know how she found out that name. She explains he was talking in his sleep for 2 straight days. He tells her to drop it. The silence in the car is extremely specific. She tells him it is time he told her the truth. Who is he, really? And what shaped him into this? He drives for a long time without answering. And then, quietly, he tells her everything. 19 years ago, a boy with no name woke up on a cold street with no memory of anything before that moment. An older woman offered him her hand and took him somewhere safe. The somewhere safe was a school buried deep in a mountain path. Hidden behind dense forest, known to its 27 students as an orphanage. The children there called him Dom. They trained every day, combat, weapons, endurance, with an intensity that did not belong in any school. Teachers told them the outside world was dangerous and immature, that they should never leave, that their purpose was to fight alongside the mother goddess, a woman named Charlotte who had founded the orphanage. They were the chosen ones, the disciples. The apostles with shining eyes. None of them questioned it because the alternative was too lonely to consider. Then one afternoon, hiding in a secret corner with a stolen comic book, Dom met an albino girl with white hair and steady eyes. She found him reading and asked if he wanted to see more comics. She had a hiding spot no one else knew about. She told him not to tell the teachers. He promised. Her name was Soa. He called her Nuna. She was the most capable person in the building, and he would learn years later, the most dangerous. Nuna could also see numbers. But where Dom saw the lives a person would take, she saw the lives a person would save. She told him this on a rooftop one evening, 6 years after they first met. She also told him her plan. She was going to destroy the orphanage. She had been mapping the school's camera blind spots for years. She told him she had calculated the pattern 600 times. She had drugged teachers' tea. She had swapped a lock in the storage room with one she could open herself. She had found a basement lab and tested chemical compounds from it on the least observant staff member. She had been preparing for this for years. On November 17th of the following year, the helmeted teacher, the one she could not handle alone, would be on vacation. That was the window. She asked Dom to stand beside her. He said no. He said he would escape with his friends when she created the opening, but he would not be her partner in this. He handed the comic back to her and walked away. He did not know in that moment what the high number above her head truly represented. He should have. 1 year later, November 16th arrived. Nuna picked up her weapon. The plan began. She moved through the building, eliminating the teachers one by one, with a focus that was almost meditative. Dom heard the gunshots and began his own plan, gathering the friends he could, pushing them toward the escape route he had been building in secret. But the orphanage had secrets he did not know about either. 2 other students from the honor class, students he thought were allies, appeared with weapons and stood against Nuna. They had been completely absorbed by the school's indoctrination. Graduation and loyalty to Charlotte were everything to them. Nuna turned her gun on them without flinching. To her, anyone who chose the orphanage over freedom had already become the villain. She was wearing a coat she had taken from a hook in the hallway. In her mind, she was the hero from the comic book, the Crow, descending on the criminals. In reality, the bodies behind her were children she had grown up with. Dom barricaded his door, found his friend Yule inside, pointing a gun at him. Another friend, Han Gall, had exposed his escape plan to the teachers. Han Gall, trained and loyal and utterly broken, had done it because he believed they were wrong. Dom lowered his weapon and reached out to his friend. He told him they were just children. What had been done to them was not their fault. He asked him to escape with him. And then Nuna appeared in the doorway. She looked at Han Gall. She said he was the one who had betrayed Dom. She did not hesitate. Dom watched his friend fall. Nuna moved toward Yule next. Dom grabbed a gun and pointed it at her. She told him he was too weak. She said he had always been too weak. She listed every moment he had refused to act when action was required. Then she stepped forward and injected something into his neck. The last thing he saw before the drug took him was her picking up the gun and turning toward the door. He woke up alone. He was the only survivor in the building. He walked through the corridors alone, among the people who had been his world, until his legs stopped working. And in the dark that followed in the dreams or the fever, or whatever kept him suspended between sleep and waking, Nuna appeared again. And Han Gall appeared, covered in blood, asking why Dom had not ended her when he had the chance. After all, the number above her head was 137. 137 lives. And he had known it. And he had done nothing. In that dream or memory, Dom sat at a table with a book in his hands. The trolley problem. The philosophical exercise about saving 5 people by sacrificing 1. He had always known the answer, just could not make himself follow it. Never again, he decided. He would no longer hesitate. No exceptions. No sentimentality. Every life the same weight. Yes. Every number the same rule. He would not do it out of heroism. He would do it as execution. That was the day Number was born. He rose from the orphanage's ruins and walked out into a world that did not know his name. And for 12 years he has been working through his list, looking for the albino girl at the center of it all. Back in the present, Jiun sits very still in the passenger seat. She understands now what she is traveling with. Not a monster, not a hero, but something much harder to categorize. A man who lost everything to someone with the same gift he carries, rebuilt himself into a weapon aimed at the only logic he could trust. She also understands now that Nuna, wherever she is, sees the world as a series of lives saved by her choices. And that every orphan she killed in that building was, to her, a number prevented from reaching its destination. Jiun does not know how to hold both of these things at once. But she knows that right now, she and Dom are the only ones who can. Elsewhere, the detective named Samuel Guan is closing in. He arrived at the homicide division with a director's endorsement and a partner who handles cleanup. His special ability reads the number of lies a person will tell and decrements that count in real time as the lies accumulate. He watched the live stream of Jian's apartment and recognized her immediately. He and his partner tracked her to the bus incident, and from there to the subway. After the subway, he simply waited in the alley where she stopped to cry into the phone. He put a hand around her throat. Not to kill her, he clarified, smiling, and waited for Number to call back. When Number did, Samuel proposed a meeting at an abandoned building at 10 at night. Number refused without a second's pause. He called Samuel pathetic for needing a hostage. Then he said he was confident Jiun would not die easily. Samuel released the girl, told her she was welcome to try managing on her own with the police hunting her, or she could stay with him. She stayed. In the car, Samuel turns to face her with a smile that does not quite reach his eyes. He offers her 3 options to explain her eye pain, dirt, the bus accident, or overuse of a special ability. Her body reacts to the 3rd option before she can stop it. He does not press. He moves to the next question. 3 options for what she was doing on the bus. Option 1, causing fear. Option 2, stopping the bus. She does not confirm anything, but he is already moving to his conclusion regardless. He knows she was trying to prevent something. She saw something others could not. He asks, with a practiced casualness, what she knows about the future. Jiun takes a breath and turns the question back on him. She asks what numbers he can see. Samuel goes very still. The girl then lists 3 possibilities, someone's predestined sentence. The number of crimes they will commit, or the number of times they will lie to another person. He is caught off guard for the first time in the conversation. And then the car window shatters. A hand grabs Samuel by the shirt and pulls him halfway through the broken glass. Number looks at him with an expression that is entirely professional. He notes, almost to himself, that it has been a long time since he has seen a number this high. He asks for the detective's last words. The confrontation that follows does not end with anyone dying, but it establishes for all parties exactly where the lines are. Samuel is sharp, dangerous, and running his own operation entirely outside standard police protocol. His partner Juicio, who handles the moments that cannot go on record, is watching from the driver's seat. Together, they have already eliminated Jiun Mo, the surviving henchman from Cho's operation at a shipyard. After a brief and lopsided foot chase, they dump the evidence into the sea while discussing lollipop flavors. They are pursuing Number and Jiun not to arrest them, but to understand them first and then decide. That decision, Samuel tells his partner, will depend on the criteria they use. He wants to know the logic. He wants to know if it holds. Far from the shipyard, Jiun is shopping at a city market. New clothes, protein bars, disinfectant, a plane cap. She is 2 weeks into the strangest stretch of her life and trying not to look like someone the police are hunting. She mostly succeeds. Until she steps onto a bus and notices that almost every passenger boarding with her has a timer running out. Not 1 or 2. Almost everyone. 17 passengers. 8 hours and 31 minutes, no less, decreasing faster now. The child from the stop offers her a strawberry candy and smiles. She calls Number. She tells him which bus she is on. She tells him they have 17 minutes. He tells her to find a way to get people off the bus while he drives to intercept. She tries a lighter, cannot get it lit, drops it, it shatters under a foot. She grabs an emergency window hammer, it somehow flies out of the bus. Every single attempt to disrupt the situation is thwarted, as if the universe itself is enforcing the outcome. She asks Number, desperate, if this is what he meant when he said numbers never change. He says yes. But he also tells her to keep trying. The bus hits a pole, a small collision. Her doing no serious injuries, police called immediately. She escapes the scene before the smoke clears. She thinks she has done it. She saved them. And then she watches every single person from that bus walk into the nearby subway station together. The accident shifted the venue. The count remained the same. 10 more people are now at risk. She boards the train and finds the criminal, a woman, not a monster, carrying a lighter and a gasoline bottle and a stuffed animal in a backpack. A man on the train kicks the woman's bag, mocks her. The stuffed animal scatters on the floor. And in that woman's eyes, Jiun sees herself, someone who has been pushed past every available exit. She cannot kill her without knowing her story. So she does something that makes Number yell at her through the phone and makes her own hands shake. She grabs the bag and runs. The woman chases her through the cars. Jiun pours the remaining gasoline on herself. She uses her ability, full power, eyes burning white, to hold every passenger's lifespan steady. The pain is like ground glass pushed into the back of her eye socket. She keeps it open anyway. 42 seconds. The train emerges from the tunnel. Daylight. The woman raises the blowtorch. Jiun swings the backpack and shatters the window, already weakened by the shot number fired from the next car. The bag full of flammable material sails out over the water below. The blowtorch falls. The car fills with smoke, not fire. People flood toward the exits. The train stops. Everyone gets off. Jiun calls number and tells him she did it. She saved all of them without killing anyone. She is shaking with relief and something close to joy, a feeling she barely recognizes. He hands her a shirt to cover herself and tells her to blend into the crowd. The police are everywhere. As they are leaving the station, she checks the passengers' lifespans. All of them are back to normal. She tells him that this proves something. Numbers can change without anyone dying. He says almost nothing. Tells her they have one more thing to check. They go back to the station. She does not understand why until she sees it. The woman, the arsonist, the person she chose not to kill, is being escorted out of the station by police. They pass under a large overhead sign. The sign comes loose. It swings down and connects directly with the woman's head. Only her head. No one else is touched. Jiun runs toward the body without thinking, screaming for the woman not to die. She trips and falls. A police officer reaches out to help her and asks her to remove her cap. She runs instead. In the alley outside, she asks Number on the phone if he knew this would happen. He tells her the truth she did not want to hear. He has tried this before, not killing the destined criminal, trying alternatives. Arrest, confinement, injury. Every time fate found a path. One criminal was sentenced to death after a second crime was discovered while imprisoned. Another died of infection in a cell. No matter the path, fate corrected itself. He had hidden this from her intentionally. He wanted to give her the chance to try, because he believed she might carry a different kind of ability than his own. He was wrong. The numbers held. Jiun refuses to accept this. She is screaming into the phone, asking if murder is truly the only answer, when someone appears behind her. She goes quiet. Samuel places a hand at her throat, not a killing grip, a demonstration, and asks who she was so upset with. He wants her to call Number back. He wants to speak to him directly. She does. Number answers and asks who is there. Samuel introduces himself, says he is fascinated by the work, and proposes a meeting. Number says no. He calls the detective pathetic for hiding behind a teenager. He says he knows Jiun will not die easily, and hangs up. Samuel releases the girl, smiles at her horrified expression, and explains that they are both police officers and they do not kill teenagers. His partner Juasil steps out of the car. The invitation is clear. Come with us, or manage alone with every police officer in the city looking for your face. She gets in the car, and somewhere behind them, a man named Dom Seo is picking up a motorcycle from a contact and heading in their direction. His eye is still damaged. Cannot predict the best escape route yet. But he knows her GPS location to the meter. He always has. Samuel turns to face Jiun fully and begins his questions, 3 options at a time. Watching her body react to the correct one, even when her mouth says nothing, he knows her eye is overloaded. He knows she was trying to stop something on that bus and train. He knows she saw something no one else could see. He asks what she knows about the future. She takes a breath and asks what he can see. She lists the options: criminal history, crime count, lie count. He is surprised by the specificity, too surprised to hide it. Then the car window breaks, and Number's hand is through it. He looks at Samuel's number floating above his head and says, it has been a long time since he has seen one that high. He asks for last words. The confrontation freezes into a strange standoff, 3 people with different kinds of sight, circling each other in a broken car. Samuel does not reach for a weapon. Jusil does not move. Number holds his position, hand still gripping the detective's collar. What comes next will not be decided by force. It will be decided by answers, the kind that have been building for 12 years. From an orphanage in the mountains to the underside of a highway overpass in Seoul, Jiun looks at each of them in turn, the scarred man she followed into the dark, the red-eyed detective who sees through every lie in herself, a girl with yellow numbers burning in one eye and her father's name carved into every door she has ever tried to walk through. She thinks about the trolley problem. She thinks about the woman under the sign. She thinks about the strawberry candy the boy offered her and his mother holding his hand at the bus stop. None of it is clean. None of it resolves into a single correct answer. But she is still here. And the number above her head, Whatever it reads now has changed before. That matters. She does not yet know exactly how much, but it matters. Number told her once in a flat and certain voice that the numbers were immutable. But she has proven, in small and painful ways, that they are not. Not always. Not when someone is looking directly at their own countdown and refusing to follow where it leads. That is the loophole neither he nor Nuna ever found, because neither of them could see themselves the way Jiun can. He spent 12 years choosing between one side and another. She spent 1 month discovering there might be a third option, expensive, painful, uncertain, but present. It costs her something every time. Her eye bleeds. Body gives out. The pain is real. But the passengers on that train are alive. Every one of them. Somewhere in Korea, an albino woman with a high number above her head is moving toward this city. She sees lives saved. He sees lives taken. Jaeon sees time remaining. 3 instruments measuring 3 different things about the same uncertain future. And the most dangerous of them all is not the serial killer or the detective or the woman from the orphanage. It is the girl who just discovered she can put her own number in the balance and tip the scale. The story of number is not a story about justice. It is a story about the distance between a rule and a reason. Between a number that says this person will kill and a person who has not yet made that choice. Dom learned in blood that hesitation costs everything. Nuna learned in the same blood that certainty is its own kind of blindness. And Jiun Mo, the daughter of a man the world decided was irredeemable, is learning something neither of them could teach themselves. That the future is not a fact, is a weight. And who you share it with determines how much of it you can carry. Whatever comes next, whoever finds them first, whatever Nuna is planning. Whatever Samuel's number means, one thing is already true. The girl who was supposed to kill 4,000 people chose, in a burning train car over dark water, to save 27 strangers instead. And the count above her head changed because of it. That is enough to keep running toward whatever comes next.